First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone, and salutes and honors to you brothers out there preaching His word, sincerity, and truth. All right, coming to another video. I got this article here. It's entitled 10 Terrible Famines in History. Okay. Basically, famines are basically a lack of food. All right, lack of food, and basically the crops are dried up. Lack of water. That could be a famine as well. Lack of food and water. And there's natural, how you could say natural occurrence of famines, and also engineered famines, by man. All right, but ultimately it's the Most High through His Son, causing a famine. All right, so I'm gonna get these read some of these famines off this article here, and I'll go right to the scriptures. All right, because a terrible famine is coming to America. All right, all these these ships held up on the outside of these ports. That's what you call an engineered famine. Okay, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, through the which is the sword on the left hand of the Most High. They're causing a engineered famine. All right, and this famine is going to be a very, very terrible famine. Okay, so let me read some of this. All right, I'll read this paragraph right here. Famine is often considered one of the worst natural disasters on earth, and that's true. It affects are widespread, and the damage caused by a famine can last for months, if not years, oftentimes caused by other natural disasters. It can destroy whole villages and cause a mass exodus. Death by starvation and malnutrition is slow and painful, and often hits the youngest and the elderly the hardest. Unfortunately, at times it is brought upon by political incompetency, and that's engineered famine. Cruelty towards others can exacerbate the situation. Below are 10 terrible famines experienced through human history. All right, 10. Let me get all this stuff out the way, man. Let's see. What is this? I can't even get this out of my Salakia. Get this out the way, man. What the hell? Let's see. But I'm going to try to read it. Number 10, Great Famine. 1.5 million dead, 2 million immigrated. And does it tell you where it was? Oh, okay, Ireland. Ireland, 1853. 1.5 million Irish were dead, and an additional 2 million had immigrated. Okay. 9, Persian famine of 1917 to 1919. 2 million dead. Okay. North Korea famine, 3 million dead. And that was from 1994 to 1998. All right, 4-year famine. As such, childhood mortality rate rose 93 out of 1,000 children. And the mortality rate of pregnant women rose 41 out of 1,000 mothers. That's why Yahweh said, woe to them that get suck in those days, man. Okay, because of famine, that's a very harsh life living through a famine, And when a woman's pregnant, she's basically eating for two. She's eating for herself and she's eating for the baby. Okay, not verse 7. Number 7. Russian famine of 1921, 5 million dead. Early 20th century was a tumultuous time for the Russians as they caused millions in World War One to experience a violent revolution in 1917 and suffer from multiple civil wars. Okay. 6. Bengal famine in 1943, 7 million dead. You're gonna see motherfuckers like this on your American streets, all right, all shriveled up and looking malnourished and bones, okay, skins and bones. A war-winning catastrophic event set about Bengal famine of 1943, with World War II raging and Japanese imperialism growing. And war causes famine as well. So we're heading into the war that third war, the war to end all wars. All right, that World War III. And best believe it's gonna be mass famine. Millions of people starving to death. Okay, this is another Bengal famine of 1770, 10 million dead. See that? Yet another famine in Bengal. This horrific event killed a third of the population, largely ruled by English-owned East Indian Company. Reports of severe drought and crop shortages were ignored, and the company continued to increase taxes on the region. And that's what Esau's talking about, increasing taxes on everybody. And hyperinflation is basically that silent tax. All right. 4. Soviet famine, 1932 to 1933, 10 million dead. Incredibly, the severity of this famine was not fully known in the West until the collapse of USSR in the 1990s. The main cause of the policy collectivization, administered by Joseph Stalin, Joseph Stalin. Under collectivization, large swaths of land would be converted into a collection farm, all maintained by peasants. 3. Chalisa famine, 11 million dead. The Chalisa famine refers to year in the Vikram Samvat calendar used in northern India. The Lord jacking up them Edomites over there. The Chinese famine of 1907, 25 million dead. Ranking second in terms of death toll, the Chinese famine 1907 was a short-lived event that took nearly 25 million people. Okay, the food riots took place daily and were often quelled through the use of deadly force. Number 1, the Great Chinese Famine, 43 million dead. All right. What year was that? Now, these failed policies teamed with flood in 1959 and a drought in 1960 affected entirely of the Chinese nation. By the time Great Leap Forward had ended in 1962, 43 million Chinese had died from the famine. Okay. Yeah, so there you go. And you get a lot of these famines. These heathens were basically catching it hell. All right, but these famines that's coming, you Israelites are basically gonna be grabbing, the brunt of the, catching that famine hell too, man. Okay, because the Lord got a controversy, all right, with you 2/3, man. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. All right, so that famine is going to bring great death. All right, and I believe it's going to trump these famines that's coming. Is going to trump this number one famine, the Great Chinese Famine, 43 million dead, is going to trump that. Okay. These famines that's coming is going to trump that 43 million. The beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sin and scourges for a minute, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Okay? And great famine is coming to America, man, and also the world. Okay? Now, the book of Lamentations, the word lament basically means to cry, to mourn. All right? And the book of Lamentations is, solely focused on the great famine that happened upon you Israelites. Okay? I believe it was an engineered famine by the other nations. It's an engineered famine. I believe the Babylonians at that time, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the other nations basically, it was an engineered famine. So the Lord used these other nations to basically stop the food from basically coming in to Jerusalem. Okay, let's see if we can find what nation that was. And these famines that's about to be put on Israel, man, is for the sin that Israel has been committing, man. Because Israel a bunch of demons, man. The 2/3, man. All right, these famines are not going to affect the Lord's elect, okay? I believe it was the Babylonians, man. But let me look this up real quick. I'm on my other phone here. Yeah, it's the Babylonians. All right. All right. Let me. I'm gonna read this book, Lamentations, 4th chapter. I'm gonna read all the way down from verse 1 to verse 10. Basically, get the verse 11 actually. Yeah, verse 11. So, verse 1, Lamentation 4:1. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion compared to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? Okay. Even sea monsters draw out the breasts that give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness. And that's talking about Israel, man. Just like now, man. Jake, man. Jake could kill each other over, anything, man. Jake step on another Jake's shoe by accident. Motherfuckers would die off that, man. The other Jake will retaliate and kill him. And that nigga going to jail going to prison. Niggas are just evil towards each other. But the Lord's going to rectify that by, causing these famines, man. All right? And He's going to kill off you niggas, man, by hunger. Verse 3, even the she monsters draw out of the breast that give suck to the young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel like the ostriches in the wilderness. And you women are cruel towards your children as well. The tongue of the suckling, it's like the tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children as bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. Okay. That they were brought up in scarlet, embraced dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people, the daughter of my people is talking to Israelites, is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom. Okay? And you saw Edom pushing that LGBT ideology on our people hard, man. All right, and a lot of you Israelites are, down with that gay homosexual activity and shit, man. All right, but this famine, this famine is gonna be harsher than the sin of Sodom, man, than the punishment of the sin of Sodom. Okay, because what I'm reading Lamentations right now is basically it happened back in the Babylonian Empire, but hey, this is Great Babylon, so this same thing is gonna happen here in America, man. Okay, soon. There's no new thing under the sun, as the scripture says in Ecclesiastes, man. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people was greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, no hands stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than the snow. They were they was whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Now it gets right into the famine, right? Their visage is blacker than the coal. Okay, let me go back. No, let's see this. I see a motherfucker laying down right here on the street. Now this is 6, right? The famine 6, rank 6. I guess these Burma people are already dark skinned, but look, this motherfucker even got more darker. Dark, dry, dirty, There's no life in his body, man. Vicious is black, man. And that's what's gonna happen to you Israelites, man. Their visage is blacker than the coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered and has become like a stick. That scripture is describing that. It's describing this individual right there, man, that died in a famine. And this is exactly going to happen to you Israelites, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all right? It is withered. It has become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. Because it's better to be shot in the head or stabbed up than be than die from hunger and a famine. For these pine away and stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. What's the word sodden means? To cut, to boil. Okay, let's just get it real quick. All right. All right, what's going on? Sodden. There we go. Sodden. To boil, to cook, bake, roast, ripen, grow ripe. So back in this time, the Israelite woman was basically cooking her own children. Okay. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So best believe that this same situation, famine is going to come. And a lot of you Israelite women that there's basic demons, you're going to start eating your children, man. This is punishment, man. The Lord has accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger. So this is the Lord's anger, famine. And hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. Okay. So yeah, man. Look forward to famine, to malnourished people in the streets of America, man. Great Babylon. Because the Great Babylon is going down, man. The Lord is putting his wrath on this place, okay? Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got, Lord. Edifying. Shalom.